Good morning, everybody. During the period of January 1st and February 2nd in the year 2014, a 14-year-old girl was lured over the internet by a 41-year-old male. During this period, it is alleged the male extorted the young girl into meeting him in person. On February 1st and February 2nd, the male sexually assaulted the child at a hotel located in the area of the Queensway and the Royal York Boulevard in the city of Toronto. On February 4th, 2014, the accused Hassan Steven Jarrar, 41 years, of Toronto, was arrested and charged with the following: sexual assault, sexual interference, extortion, access to child pornography, possess child pornography, make child pornography, luring a child, and fail to comply with an 810.2 recognizance ×3. Hassan Steven Jarrar is a convicted sex offender. In 1997, Jarrar was convicted of a vicious sexual assault on a female, leaving her near lifeless body in a remote area near Lake Ontario. She sustained life-threatening injuries, remained in hospital for several months, and underwent significant rehabilitation. Jarrar was sentenced to 15 years for this heinous crime, of which he served in its entirety. Upon his release, the Toronto Police Service released a community safety bulletin. At this time, he was placed on numerous conditions. The Toronto Sex Crimes is appealing to the public to come forth with any information relating to this male, as we believe there may be further victims. The internet and the new technologies have become a way of life, especially with our youth. The internet gives people a false sense of security and allows them to do things they may not normally do. Predators know this. The technology is forever changing and hard to keep up with. The police and many nonprofit agencies, such as the Canadian Centre for Child Protection, are committed to educating our children and our community. This particular incident is not uncommon. Sexual predators surf media looking for a victim they can abuse. Predators will misrepresent themselves and morph into what they believe the victim wants. They will take personal information from the unsuspecting victim, create a personal, sometimes romantic relationship, and then coerce them into doing something they would not normally do. This can include sending photos, creating videos, some of which may not be appropriate. The suspect may then use the photos or videos against them to control them and then extort them. What can we do as a parent? Educate yourself and talk to your children about the dangers of this tool. Cybertips.ca is a wealth of information relating to the digital world and its pitfalls. They provide a resource for families, children, and educators. I brought with me some handouts for everyone to take a look at. They also provide another service called websites called needhelpnow.ca, in which if you've got yourself in a position or a friend has got themselves in a position where pictures have been uploaded to the internet and you don't know what to do, it will tell you how to get the pictures off the internet, and it will allow you to talk to somebody and lead you through this difficult situation. Does anybody have any questions?
What conditions was he under when he was released?
He had in excess of 15 conditions, a lot of them pertaining to his address, a curfew, any type of romantic relationships.
Not allowed to have any romantic relationships?
If going into a relationship, having to notify the police.
And how are you alleging he extorted this 14-year-old by threatening to use to share the pictures with people, or?
Correct.
Inspector, can you talk about some of the frustration there must be for police here when you've got someone who, I mean, the public was warned when he was released in 2012 that he was likely to reoffend. He served his full sentence, I understand that, but it's got to be a little bit frustrating that he's back out there given all the work you guys did.
Well, it went through the legal process, and that's the process we have to take. The public knew that he was out there. We do everything we possibly can to monitor these people, conditions through the judicial system. But again, as I was saying, the internet, unfortunately, is where these predators hang around and they surf on it, and they have the time to do it. And they're looking for a child, a person to put their information on there, and all they have to do is latch on to their phone number, their address, anything about them. And they build rapport with these kids, and these kids don't have the maturity, the mental maturity right now to make the best judgment calls. And we as parents, we have to address that. And we educate children. We're in the schools. We're trying to educate them. But I think parents have to educate themselves and learn more about it. And this website, cybertips.ca, is an excellent resource for everyone.
Was he prohibited from using the internet? And if so, how is that monitored?
No.
When you guys put out the news release about him being released, I mean, it's not very often that you warn the public about somebody who's served their sentence in full. Just tell us again why you put that out, what kind of danger you believed he presented to the public when he was released.
Well, it relates to his history, and it's a compilation of psychologists, psychiatrists, all the things that he's done within his life. So it becomes where we believe, putting all that information together, it's a fear of, if he's going to cause a fear of serious personal injury. So that's when the 810 is looked into. So that's brought before the courts, and then the judge decides whether it's appropriate or not.
And just spell out what is an 810 for us.
An 810 is when an offender gets released and significant conditions are put on them based on, although they've done their sentence, it's based on a fear that we have that he's going to reoffend.
I understand it wasn't the limit of release decision, but do you know why he wasn't told not to release the internet?
Well, his previous convictions didn't involve the internet.
Were police monitoring his internet habits, his internet use, his profile?
No.
Why not?
There was no evidence to know that he was using the internet.
What conditions are you alleging he breached?
Curfew,
What was his curfew?
midnight to 6 a.m.
And you're alleging he was out overnight, I guess?
Yes,
To
correct.
meet with this 14-year-old girl.
Correct.
Explain what it is he did. Was he pretending to be someone younger when he met her?
I can't get into the
Catfight or-
specific details. He portrayed himself to be something he wasn't, and unfortunately, it resulted in the sexual assault.
So he got the images and then extorted her into using the
It's alleged, yes.
Did he allegedly say he was going to share the images with his parents, or
Not those words, no.
what was it that he?
It's alleged that he said that he would use the pictures and put them on the internet.
Did you have her meet him more than once then? Was it over the month?
I can't comment on that.
Are the photos from the sexual assault, or are these prior?
I can't
photos
comment
that
on
he-
that.
Was she physically harmed at all? Other than the-
She was sexually assaulted. I'm not going to comment on that.
Which motel was it?
Just in that area. I'm not going to comment on the motel.
February 1st and 2nd, you said were the dates where the sexual assault happened.
Correct.
Were they two separate incidents on those days or more, or was that, did he keep her over the course of the 2 days?
I'm not going to comment on that, sorry.
I would imagine you have access to his computer records, and I know you say there's potentially more victims. Do you have anything to read from his computer records? Has been corresponding with each other down the line?
We have information now that we're going through. I have nothing to comment on at this time.
Inspector, can you go over the timeline again here? When he first reached out to this young girl on the internet, when she met him, and when the sexual assault occurred? Can you know where to go over the timeline again for this?
Yeah, it was over a period of January 1st to February 2nd of this year. They had conversations. And then she met with him the February 1st and February 2nd.
What kind of data, and what kind of monitoring was he under to make sure he was keeping better conditions?
He reported here once a week. Yeah.
But outside of that, there's no one checking up on him?
Yep, we check up on him. We've checked up on him many times. And by legislation, we have to check on him a minimum of once a year. However, we've done that a lot more than that.
Can you get more specific at a lot?
No, I'm not going to give you numbers.
When you release a warning about somebody who's at what was said to be a high risk to reoffend, what kinds of things, what are the criteria for kind of how you monitor? You said you didn't monitor his internet usage. Why was that decision made not to monitor his internet usage when he was at a high risk for reoffending? And that's a known way that people go about a lot of sexual crimes.
Right, there was no evidence that he had internet. We go by the 15 different conditions that he has, plus knowing that he's a high-risk offender, there's other things that we can do to monitor him. But to monitor the internet, once again, you have to get judicial authorization. You have to know that he's actually using the internet, and then you have to get the authorization to monitor it. So we didn't have that information.
Sorry, you have to know that he's using the internet in an attempt to lure
Correct.
someone?
It's not, he's allowed to, there's no conditions saying he's not allowed to have internet, so there's no conditions, so there's no reason why he can't have it.
And because he had never offended using the internet before, that wasn't part of his condition.
Nothing that we know of, correct?
Was he working anywhere?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Where was he living?
He was living in Toronto.
Any chance there are other victims?
There's possibly other victims. We believe that there's possibly other victims.
Was he using the internet at home or going out to look at public access?
I can't comment on that right now. That's still under investigation.